Welcome back to the Pull the Chair podcast. I am your host, Paris, with my two co-hosts, Tyler and Dylan. How you guys doing on this, Wednesday? We had to push it back a little bit this week. We've all kind of been just a little busy this week.
I mean, I've been sad about the Super Bowl. Obviously, I'm repping my Patriots, got to represent them. But yeah, I mean, the Celtics are looking good. Jason Tatum's looking more promising than ever to come back. So spirits are high despite sad Sunday for me.
I missed you guys, man. I really did. It's been a long time without you. This is not on the topic for tonight, but did y'all hear Mark Cuban might partner with an investment firm here in Dallas to buy the Mavericks back?
This dude was talking about this. I don't. That's not gonna happen, man. That dude, Mark Cuban wants to buy everything right now. That's what he wants to do. He's putting money into IU for IU to be better, and now he wants to go back to Dallas. He wants to buy whatever. He's trying to buy all sports.
You saw what he
I,
did to IU, right? National
That
champions.
wasn't that wasn't him. That wasn't him.
his
That was not.
money, his
I
money
don't
got
know,
paid.
man. I don't
You know, it's
know.
all about that
Stadium,
NIL
his
money.
money has not hit yet.
All right, but that's for a different time. But
Yeah.
it does excite us here in Dallas. We think it's going to happen. We think we're getting Luca back into story next
Let's
next
rewind 2 years. Let's just
next
rewind 2 years. Pretend
next topic.
2025 never happened.
This dude's not getting Luca back. He's stuck. He's stuck on Luca.
Baby, come back. Ooh, you can bring the
Well, I guess how was that? We know Dylan's reaction to the Super Bowl. Tyler, how would you think of Super Bowl real quick before we get into it? Because that was a big thing 2 days
Hit that
ago.
hit that Seahawks money line, and it was a nice little payout.
Okay.
So
How
I'm
much you
very
get,
happy.
man? How much you get?
A little 150. I mean, I started off with $25 on Kalshi, made a couple bets, and then put it all on the Seahawks. And I mean, the odds were heavily in their favor, so it wasn't great. But hey, still a win. Oh, money in
Hey,
the pocket.
exactly. Well,
Smart bet.
that is a smart bet. I was going with the Seahawks. I didn't see that game going that way though. But going to the NBA this week, on today's show, we got our recap on trades. Just talk about a little bit about our favorite trades of this week. Talk about injuries. We got a lot of injury updates going into the second half of the season. Where's Jason Tatum looking like? What's Anthony Davis looking like? That's coming up. And then teams are getting hot, definitely in the East. There's a lot of teams starting to heat up in the East, a lot of trades to happen in the East. So we'll talk about that at the end of the show. But starting off, we had our little mini show talking about just everything happening during the trade deadlines because it was just didn't seem like a lot of big moves, but there's a lot of like smaller moves to help certain teams. So with all that being said, we talked about that a lot. I just want to go around. What are your guys' favorite trades of the deadline this year?
Y'all are gonna think I'm crazy again, but James Harden to the Cavs. I mean, like it the Cavs were already hot. We talked about them last week when we were on how they were 8-2 before they traded him. But before that, they also traded for Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder. Now you add Harden in the mix. And the reason why I like this is because I don't think Harden has to do what you think Harden always has to do for a team, what he thinks he always has to do for a team, which is play Mr. Superman hero. Anyway, I really do like this move for the Cavs. I think that Kenny Atkinson is going to coach them in a way where they'll be moving the ball, and you've seen in the small amount of time what they look like, and
It
you'd be
looks good.
lying to say that they don't look like a contender. They absolutely look like a contender. And so you add what Harden does, and then you add that to the playoffs with Donovan Mitchell. He still has to prove himself. Both Donovan Mitchell and James Harden have to prove themselves in the playoffs. But this roster going in with that East, uh, I love that trade. The second one I like is Jared McCain for one of the 68 draft picks that the Thunder have, and it makes the Thunder a better team. The Thunder already have somebody in that starting lineup, Cason Wallace, who's a better version of McCain, but you add McCain in who helps the Thunder 3-point shooting woes, and then you add a playmaker off the dribble. I think Sam Presti did great job again. So those are the two trades that I'm liking.
Tyler, I'm not going to call you crazy about the James Harden trade. I think when we were talking about that show, I think in the immediate reaction, we've talked about how with this Cavaliers team, it always feels like the Donovan Mitchell show. They need a playmaker badly, and James Harden is definitely that guy. He's definitely a controversial guy, He's definitely not a long-term person. Like, he just cares about winning, and he's always looking for the most strategic chance to win. And James Harden saw what the Cavaliers are doing and the potential that him and Donovan Mitchell could be. And I think that's a great trade. But my personal favorite was the Ayo Dosunmu trade to the Timberwolves. They gave up Dillingham, Leonard Miller, and 4 second-round picks. Rob Dillingham was someone that they drafted in the top 10. And, I kind of felt like they didn't really give him the best opportunity, but, they saw they could make an immediate upgrade with Ayo Dosunmu. And he is their quintessential six-man, essentially. Like, when you look at a six-man, you want someone that could score. You want someone that is very capable on defense. And he definitely gives you both. Like, just recently in this Hawks game, he was able to give you 21 points, of stealing a block off the bench. Like, he's just a high-effort guy. And, when you have those minutes when Anthony Edwards is not on the court, you need someone that could keep that scoring load. And Ayo Dosunmu is definitely that guy for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's a trade I really wasn't thinking about too much, just more because it's just the Bulls, I don't almost any player coming from the Bulls I'm not thinking of, but yeah, going to a team where he doesn't have to, he's not a start anymore. That's definitely going to help. I really do like the James Harden trade, and not only obviously it helps Harden, and it helps Harden goes to a win now team. Donovan Mitchell gets the playmaker, but in the few games we've seen, they face the Kings, they face the Nuggets, and now they're facing the Wizards. Obviously, the King and Wizards, who really cares about them? But the Nuggets, they beat the Nuggets as well. James Harden has dropped double-digit assists all 3 games. But the main person I've been impressed with, ever since James Harden came over in those 3 games, is Jared Allen. Jared Allen's dropping more points now that Donovan Mitchell's over there. He's getting way more involved. He's almost average. He's getting 20-some points and almost 10 rebounds a game right now, those 3 games. So, I mean, Jared Allen's look good. Donovan Mitchell's still able to drop his 30 points a game. It's not interfering with him. James Harden this game only has 13, but the last 2 games he dropped 20 and 8, 20 and 11. So, I mean, like, yes, it's only 3 games, and 2 of the 3 teams weren't the best teams, but in those 3 games, it has looked really good. In this game against the Wizards, James Harden only dropped 13, but Sam Merrill's coming off the bench with 26. So, like, they're finding ways to score, and you have a distributor that really helps. And then obviously, I kind of have to mention the Pacers trade just because of the potential it can work out with. Zubac is we finally get a center who can get a rebound for us. I haven't seen that in forever. Miles Turner was never getting rebounds for us. He can block, but he wasn't getting rebounds. We finally get that center that we can stand down there and get the rebounds for us. And we're 14 and 40. We're the second worst record in the league. The only team with the worst record is the Wizards. So, I mean, in the end, it's really looking like the Kings. The Kings are the worst team in the record. They're 12 and 43, and they're losing right now. So it looks like we have a good shot to keep that top 4 pick. And again, now when it comes to the lottery, who knows what's going to happen, right? But we're making it look good. We're not getting blown out, but we're just somehow, we're losing the game. And we keep doing this, keep being a bottom team. We get a top 3 pick with Zubac. And we're gonna be back final contending next year. And I just do like it because it does look like we have a good shot at that. But
so you're starting to believe in it, huh? I told you.
I'm just worried, man. I'm worried I was going to do all this and we're going to miss it, man. I feel like somehow it's going to happen and we're our pick. I'm going to see that pick. It's going to be like a number 5 pick and we're going to miss out.
And look, I feel like the Pacers are in a great spot right now as far as their roster construction. Like, honestly, Tyrese Halliburton seems like he's done for the season. So you still have Andrew Nembhard. I'm a fan of Obi Toppin. Like, Obi Toppin never really got a fair shake in New York, and he's just a solid, 14 points. He'll give you some boards and high effort moments. And
McConnell off the bench is really nice. Both of them together.
And Neesmith's also a solid bucket getter too. Like, you guys have plenty of bucket getters. Now with someone like Zubac, you have that true center, and Spicy P is your 4. He's always been your 4. He's going to continue to be your 4. So you guys have pretty much all the pieces there. If you guys do get a high draft pick and get one of like the top 5 picks as the modified 5, like, you guys are gonna look great next year. And as a Celtic fan, like, I gotta talk about the Vooch trade because I have seen some Celtics fans have some pushback with giving up Anthony Simons. And look, Anthony Simons has been great this year. I was very happy when he got traded to us in the offseason leading up to the year. But even the moment he got traded, it was the writing was on the wall that he was not planning to be there for long. And that wasn't entirely him. Like he seemed to embrace Boston and we embraced him. Like he was a fantastic spark plug off the bench. But the fact of the matter is that we already have a Peyton Pritchard. Like we already have Anthony Simons at home. Like you can't like they practically have very similar skill sets. Payne Pritchard has gone to war for the Celtics, and we paid him to stay here to be that guy. And when Tatum, like, of course, this is a big if with Tatum because I feel like you wouldn't have made this move if there wasn't confidence around him. Obviously, we're talking a little bit more about that with the injuries. But like Ninius Keita and Hugo Gonzalez or Luka Garza are like our two bigs before Vooch. Like, I'm a big fan of Keita. He's a traditional big, but he's not a vet. Like Vooch is a solid vet that he knows how to play really good basketball. He can move the ball. He could put up your points. He could give you boards. Like he's not an elite defender by any means, but he's a much needed depth big that we need. And if Tatum comes back, Pritchard goes back to that 6-man, and then we have I think it's going to be very scary if that happens. So and also a win-win because Anthony Simons is your top guy in the Bulls now. He took over the AO position essentially. Now he's the top bucket getter for the Bulls ever since he joined the team.
The Bulls and their point guard team.
I mean, the Bulls are tragic. I can't lie, Bulls are tragic, but they got something.
I'm usually just happy about the Western Conference playoffs for obvious reasons, but the Eastern Conference playoffs this year are going to be absolutely popcorn. I can't wait for it.
Oh yeah,
I absolutely can't wait for it. The East is wide open. You got so many teams that could win it.
Yeah, only if the Pacers are in it. That's all I care about. But no, I do like it. I do really like and what again we'll get into, but hopefully seeing the Hornets in it. You get this team. You get to see new teams that can compete in the East, and you just like you said, you have no idea who can come out with that. Obviously, you have your top teams, but like other than the top three, it's kind of whoever wins right now. That's what the East looks like.
And I think the bow on the trade deadline, so to speak, is the fact that a lot of these moves were players going eastbound, which is great for balancing. Because I feel like year after year after year, we talk about ad nauseum about how great the Western Conference is, how weak the Eastern Conference is. Now we may start seeing some teams trying to trudge up into the play-in tournament to kind of break up the Bulls, Heat, and Hawks stranglehold they've had. And I think it could be very exciting just all the way through for the Eastern Conference.
I was going to say this is a good time to talk about the Charlotte Hornets because, man, like what? So we were talking about them a little before, but they've not put the foot off the gas. They had a brawl against Detroit, but the way that this team is playing is absolutely incredible to me. Concanoople, rookie that's going to be an absolute player in the playoffs. So I was the first one to speak out against LaMelo Ball, saying not so long ago that he doesn't play winning basketball. Well, he didn't play winning basketball because he didn't have a winning roster. Now he's got a roster behind him, and LaMelo Ball is an absolute playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
And so this Charlotte Hornet team, I would not want to play them come first round. Do I think that they will beat a team like the Cavs or the Pistons or the Knicks in the first round series? No, but I think they'll give them hell. I absolutely think they'll give them hell. Each one of their players plays hard as heck, and their offense is prolific.
And I mean, at this rate, I mean, they're 9-1 in their last 10 games, only lost being to the Pistons, the number one team in the East. I mean,
speaking of which, sorry to interject, but they actually just bumped the Bulls out of the play-in. They're the 10th because of this run.
Okay.
But give it 3 more wins, they're in 7th place. They're not even just in the play-in; they're just in the playoffs. And I mean, the 7th team is the Magic at 28-24. The Heat are 8-28-27. The Hornets are 25-29. Like I say, give it a couple more wins. Forget just being in the play-in; they can just be in the playoffs, and they don't have to worry about being in the play-in and facing a 1, 2, 3. They can face a 4 or 5. They could beat a 4 or 5.
Mark my words, this team will be in the playoffs. This Charlotte team will be in the playoffs.
And so they're a scary team.
I think personally the Eastern Conference is kind of tiered where it's like the top 4 teams. I think they rightfully belong in their spots. Like the Pistons, I feel like are top dogs, no doubt. And seeing them fight, against the Timberwolves
Of
and
course,
get
it's the Pistons.
scrappy. Well, they want to like. It's not like they're thinking about the bad boy Pistons, but I feel like Detroit has this reputation throughout the years of being a tough team.
Yeah.
And this year is no different with the likes of Jalen Duren, just freaking going at it with Nas Reed. Like, I wouldn't want to mess with either one of these guys and watch them freaking ready to fight
And they
and like
got
throw
Isaiah
punches.
Stewart.
Oh,
Beef
stew,
stew.
man. Beef stew. He has beef with everyone, man. Like he's scarier than Jalen Duren, and he doesn't even play as often. Like he's like the goon in hockey that comes out off the bench and friggin' just ready to tough
The reason
people
the
out.
Pacers got John Johnson, man. We gotta have somebody just in case, man. Like, hey, he's not gonna play, but like we got him.
He's the new age Ron Artest. I mean, this is awesome. This is absolutely awesome.
I love it. And then Celtics, they've outperformed their expectations, and obviously with the hopes of Tatum, that will only bring them higher up in my eyes. The Knicks have been a very scary team, man. Seeing Jose Alvarado be implemented into an already defensive-heavy team, like good luck scoring on these guys. Like they are going to be very scary in that second round, third round. Like, yeah, I would definitely not want to play them. And that kind of teeter-totter with the Cavaliers. Like definitely James Harden puts them over the top now. And now they definitely feel like rightfully in that top 4 where it's like they're the best 4 teams right now. And then you kind of have like the Raptors, the Sixers. Like that's where I feel like there's a solid break.
Yeah. Raptors and Sixers, they're funny enough, the Raptors are only a half game behind the Cavs, but it's like it just feels like the Cavs are so much better than the Raptors when you really look at them. The Raptors are 32-22 and the 76ers are 30-23. And then you go to number 7, the Magic, which are 28-24, and that's when you almost kind of basically get into that playing range. And that's easily the range at the point where the Magic's at. That's the range easily the Hornets could jump from 10-7 by the playoff time. And then you get the Heat and Hawks in your playing spot. Obviously, Heat 28-27, Hawks 26-29, and at least with the Hawks, I do see a future for them having a Jalen Johnson, having a Richardson, having a Daniels. I mean, they have talent. They have CJ McCollum come off the bench. I can see a future for them. The Heat, it's like they're going to be 8, and that's what they're going to be. They're just going to be 8.
What the Hornets are doing with their effort and their offense, that is sustainable. That is absolutely sustainable.
Very young team.
And their deep is all get out. You have Grant Williams and Josh Green as peons on that team. Those are contributing players. They did so for the Mavs, and so they're doing so again for the Charlotte. And people are not talking enough about Moussa Diabate, and then other players that are
Miles
just
Bridges.
playing out of their mind.
Everybody want to forget about Miles Bridges.
Yeah. He's out for 4 games, 5 games, but that team is going to continue to climb, continue to grind. I love what I'm seeing out of Charlotte.
Yeah, I largely agree. I feel like the Raptors are kind of like the lost team in that 5th spot. Like, it just, to me, they don't feel like they have enough juice. Like, you have like some Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes being your best guys. RJ Barrett, he screwed me out of a fantasy NBA championship. So I'll never forgive him. Like, it's such a weird, petty like thing, but money on the line. And I watched him sit out for no reason. Like, I don't like RJ Barrett. And then you got Mamu and Jaco Poeto. Like, they have some names, but it's just like they kind of just feel like they got off to a hot start and now they kind of just sit in that purgatory area. And I mean, with the Hornets, it's like the Hornets and the Hawks, I feel like are those 2 play-in teams to watch. The Magic too, but they're not the same hot team that they were last week. The Magic were red hot going to the playoffs, and I don't really see that right now.
And this is a crucial time right before the All-Star break. Like, this is a defining part of the season for the schedule right before you go in to post-February basketball, heating up right before the playoffs. And so this is a time where you want to show yourself, whether you're either A, going to be making a run, or B, as you see other teams, some like ready to tank. And that's another thing we could talk about. But the Charlotte Hornets, the Knicks, the Cavs, these type of teams are trending in the right direction at the right time.
And then you go to the West. Obviously, you still got the Thunder, number 1, 41-13, but the Spurs, only 3.5 games back of them. Is there a chance that the Spurs by the end of the season can be the number 1 team in that West?
It doesn't feel like the Thunder. I saw in an article a couple days ago that the NBA is investigating them for sitting out 10 of their players against the Spurs. Mind you, this is the same team that's vying for that number 1 seed. I think
Yeah.
the Thunder are just so far ahead and so dominant. Like even in the games without Shea, because Shea's been out for 5 games now, they're 3-2. So like they're still very capable without their best star.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's really tough to say that there's many teams that could contend with the Thunder, but I mean, with the Spurs, did you guys see Wemby have 40 points in 26 minutes?
No, unbelievable. Unbelievable. And so I don't think, and it's a good question, good thing to talk about. I just don't think it's as important for teams to finish 1 and 2, just because they're coming off a championship and they know for a fact that they're going to be in the playoffs, right? So, and Austin Rivers brought it up in one of his podcasts recently. People get bored during the season when who you are and you're absolutely going to be in the playoffs. I don't think the Thunder are going to fall to 2, but I think it's a discussion to say, hey, can the Spurs, can the Nuggets, can one of these teams knock them off in the playoffs? And I absolutely think it's a possibility. They're human, which is something that we haven't really thought about for a long time because of how dominant they've been. But with San Antonio, the way that they are able to match speed and aggression with them, with their backcourt, the way Stephen Castle, Campaign, others are able to guard Shea Alexander, I totally think, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I totally think that this team could be outed. And the reason I bring up the Denver Nuggets is because they brought them to 7 games last year,
They did.
right after they played a 7-game series against the Clippers. And their health has been absolutely trash this year. And they've been hanging right in there for top 3 in the West. So you bring back a healthy Denver team who is going to be hungry, who has come off a championship already before, wanting to still be relevant and get themselves back there. A Thunder Nugget series, a Thunder third sports series, man, that's gonna be one for the ages.
What about the
And
Rockets, man? Oh,
I'm not so sold on the Rockets, man. I think that KD, as he gets older, he's going to be a piece that could always score a bucket. But I don't think that this roster has the component to really get that far in the West. I mean,
Well,
Dylan, you could tell me what you think about that. But
first off, I do want to mention the one point you made, where like this is kind of like the dog days of the season. Like everybody's just looking for an all-star break, getting some time off, and it's one of those things where a lot of these players are beat up. They need some time off when they're playing like every other day, sometimes back to back. It's not easy. Like it's definitely not easy. And I do think it's very important that leading up to the playoffs is the most crucial part of the season. Because we've seen teams that start off the season so great, be so dominant, and if they start teetering off and don't like I could see this Thunder team be stagnant, be bored, like Tyler said, and come out flat in the playoffs. And they have that wake up call and they're like, oh crap, we're not as sharp as we should be. While other teams could have the potential of just being super hot, like the Spurs, that are playing hard as they can every game. That in a 7-game series, like the beauty of basketball is that in a 7-game series, you definitely find out who the better team is. If the Thunder come out flat and shoot terrible, start a season, start series and go down 0-2, that could very well happen. So I don't like how the Thunder are resting on the laurels, but their health hasn't been great either. So I definitely do think this All-Star break is much needed. Now going to the Houston Rockets, I do like this Houston Rockets team. I think they have plenty of youth. Obviously Kevin Durant is always going to be the guy that you look at, especially in the clutch moments, but he can easily lean on a dude like Alperen Sengun. Jabari Smith Jr. is just very starting to become comfortable in the NBA now. And, in his 3rd year, he's really starting to understand the game where he could just give you 20-point doubles if need be.
You have Amin Thompson to guard Shaw.
Yeah, it's like they have so much young guys around him that I think a nice mixture of the vets and young players, like a Clint Capella off the bench is, Clint Capella is not the same guy he was when he started his career, but if you want effort minutes off the bench as a big, like you're gonna get that with Clint Capella. Like he'll give you effort.
You got
So
Reed Shepard. Reed Shepard's a good bucket off the bench
no
too.
doubt.
So
So, like, I do think the Rockets have plenty of ammunition where if they can get hot before the playoffs, I think the Rockets could go on a run. And ultimately, Jokic's shoe is like, look, I'm never going to rule out Jokic. Sometimes his effort can be questionable. And especially with he's a foreigner that didn't really have the passion for the NBA. He was just born to be 7 foot tall, massive. It's just like I heard some crazy stat that like 10% of all 7 footers in the NBA, like being 7 foot tall is a very rare thing, and you just almost naturally land in the NBA. Like this is not his passion. But again, like he's going to dominate. You still have Jamal Murray. You still have Aaron Gordon. Like the core of that championship team are still all together for the most part. Like Michael Porter Jr. is gone, but they could live without Michael Porter Jr.
that
So
wasn't gonna fit on that team. Like how the player he's
no,
become, it just isn't gonna fit.
yeah, and I don't like outside of those top four. Like I like the Timberwolves a lot. I
I was
like
gonna say you
it's
gotta
just
gotta talk about the Timberwolves. They're always definitely in the playoffs. They're always a team to watch out for in the playoffs.
yeah, and they've had plenty of playoff runs too. So I think that's one of the outside swingers that could possibly make another run because Anthony Edwards has playoff experience now. We can't say that he's the same rookie, second year, third year guy. Like he has a couple years in the league and they've made playoff runs several times. So I wouldn't rule them out.
Yeah, with the Timberwolves, that's one of the teams that's where they stand right now at number 6. It's one of the teams I would have to take out a team like the Nuggets or Rockets kind of early, which, obviously that team's gonna have to fight to get through them just to try and face the Thunder if the Thunder keep going on. But the Timberwolves, if you're a Spurs or Rockets or Nuggets and you fought for that 2, 3, or 4, and you have to face the Timberwolves in the first round, it's like really this is what I get first round. I have to face the Timberwolves. So, I mean, that's always a team to watch out for, especially if they can get past that first round. But if a team like the Spurs or Rockets or Nuggets beat the Timberwolves in the first round, and like, okay, well, that's a team that's been making pushes, and they've already gotten rid of that team. So obviously they're confident they can make a deep playoff push. So that's definitely a team to look out for. Obviously, now that the Clippers have gotten rid of some of their players, they're going into they don't care about the season anymore. They've fallen down to 10th. They don't really care about the season. And then I was going to mention just the Mavericks. I think at this point, the Mavericks are going for tanking this season. At this point, it looks like.
I mean, why would we not?
Mhm.
We only control this pick, and we didn't get any players of that are going to make a difference back in the trade. There's no doubt that the Mavericks are all in for building around Cooper Flag, and realistically, we just know that's going to take some time. Now, we aren't one of those teams like the Utah Jazz or even the Memphis Grizzlies or the Washington Wizards who are just going to automatically tank. We're a pride team where we're going to fight and we're going to claw and we're going to do everything we can to win games. But the roster just tells you otherwise. It's not going to be one where we're able to contend. And even if we slide up into the 10-9 seed, just being completely honest, we're not going to make any serious threat in the play-in or the playoffs. So this is a all-embracing tank here. We're just going to do it. We're going to do it ethically. How we're going to do it, and we're going to keep fighting. There's a lot of these teams, and it's a big talk around the NBA about the tanking going on right now. The Utah Jazz had Jaren Jackson, Laurie Markkinen, a healthy start, playing 3 quarters, and then all of a
And then
sudden they
just bench
sit
them.
him in the
Just
fourth
bench them.
quarter,
Yeah,
and
that's
they had
something
him
the
out.
Pacers and Mavericks would never do. We would never do that.
The Pacers, the Mavericks, we have our franchise carries too much dignity for that,
Yes.
and I think we're going to talk about the Memphis Grizzlies here in a minute, but yeah, and so the Mavericks are fully embracing the tank. We'll play games with the media, acting like we're not, but I think Jason Kidd is developing a lot of the Cooper Flag, AJ Johnson, we just brought young cat. But this roster is going to look completely different next year. We have so many expiring contracts. Uh, Everybody in Dallas is just, I'm going to a game in 2 weeks. Still love the
Okay.
team, still love the team, still love supporting them. But this is not a year where we're going to be like, okay, let's see what we could do.
I
Because we
mean,
know.
look. Oh,
Go
no, if
ahead.
you finish your thing, finish your thing. No, do you have the? What were you gonna say?
That's it, man. We're ready for next year.
Gotcha. So yeah, I mean, just like to continue on the tanking topic, like no team likes to tank. Like I mean, no fan base, I should say.
Right.
Obviously, the teams that know they have no chance now they're at the point where it's like, all right, let's get the best probability at a lottery pick. And I do think that the lottery is kind of like that ultimate equalizer to not fully embrace it. Like like the number one overall pick is divided. Like according to Tankathon, the Kings, the Pacers, and Washington all have 14% chances at that number one pick. And then you have the Pelicans, which keep in mind is not a good team whatsoever. Like they're the second worst team in the West, which is already like, when you look at those bad teams, like 15 wins, but that pick actually goes to the Hawks now. So,
Yeah.
and then you have the Brooklyn at 10%. Then you have Utah, who another just tragic team. They're only at 9%. And then, I mean, like, look, and the Kings are the tanks of all tanks right now. Like, they're 0-10. They're on a 13-game losing streak. They've lost more games in this streak than wins they've had all season. Like, if you're someone in that Sacramento area, well, like, would you even go to Costco to even buy the cheap tickets all out of Costco? Like, I feel like that's even a waste of money. Even
just make
those
the drive down south, I'll just make a drive down south and watch another team,
Take a helicopter. I mean, you live out in California. You probably like you don't want to drive on that terrible highway that's 4 lanes and you have 3 hours of traffic just to go 30-minute drive for any normal place in the world. Like screw like any other way than be in the hellhole that's Sacramento. So I mean, we had teams like the Sixers that their whole thing was embrace the tank. Let's friggin', let's embrace the tank. Let's get all these top picks. We're gonna hit on these top picks, and then we're gonna be this great team. The only real pick that ended up materializing was Joel Embiid. Pretty much everyone else has been traded or absolute busts that are out of the league by now. And now they're just in purgatory because they like obviously they have a good fan base. Like Philly has one of the best fan bases in all of America. But like like as any fan, why are you going to be like, oh yes, let's lose for a better pick? No one wants that. Let's
no, and that's why I really like the way the Pacers and Mavericks do it. Because again, the Kings suck. The Kings are just bad. They're old. Half the players are injured. They just suck. So it is what it is. Same it goes with the Wizards. They're not playing Trae Young and AD for the rest of the season, which makes perfect sense to me. So, sir, you have some young players you can watch, but who cares? The Nets, you have Michael Porter. That's all they got. But then you got the Jazz, who, again, they're just deciding, you know what? Even if we can win a game, we're going to make sure we intentionally, on live TV show that we're going to lose the game. We're winning this game, but we're going to take our 2 star players out so we lose. The Pacers and Mavericks, funny enough, if we're at least how the Pacers, I've been watching the Pacers, how we do it. That first quarter, almost every time we'll win that first quarter. We'll come out hot, hitting our shots, we'll look good. Second quarter, we'll do okay. It'll be halftime, it's going to be a close game. We might be up a little bit, might be down a little bit. Then you get like halfway through that third quarter, and it's just like, we're starting to fall behind, and then we'll like lose a game. You're like, well, we lost, but only against if it's a top team. Say it was like a Pistons or team. We're like, you know what? They blew us out, whatever. But if it's any mid to below mid team, it's like, okay, we're not about to just lose this team. Okay, we'll put up a fight. We might beat them, we might not. And then if you're the Thunder and Knicks, it don't matter if we're good or bad or not. We're still gonna go and beat you. We beat the Thunder, we beat the Knicks. It just doesn't matter. But like those are the 2 teams that can't.
At least try. Like it's like we've seen the NBA reward the Mavericks for doing one of the worst trades of all time. Like they didn't like. I mean, like
and so
like 1% to get number one. It's like,
and that's what I'm saying is like the cat's out the bag that the NBA rewards teams in that manner. So for Utah Jazz to think, okay, we're just going to tank and the NBA is not going to do anything about it, you're playing with fire because the NBA and as you said, Adam Silver came out and said, after when he was on ESPN talking about how the Mavs got first pick with a 1.8% chance. He was like, well, they played hard, they did the right thing, aka we rewarded them for playing hard and not giving up. So, and I don't know if y'all agree with me, but I thought the NBA was doing better job with the tanking, and now it's just a full out tank. Now, don't get me wrong, it is a strategic thing to do to tank. Sometimes it is absolutely the right thing to do to tank. But now when you have so many teams doing it, it's just not a good look for the NBA. I hate to see it for a couple of these teams. And and so there's just going to be some W's, some scheduled W's for some of these continuing teams playing against these teams, and it's not as good. It's not as fun, even for like fan bases. But as a fan of the game and the NBA itself, man, it's a total knock on it.
And that's why it's still so fun to watch. Even the Pacers who are 14-40 this year, it's still you can still get joy at watching them because Pascal's gonna go out there and still drop 25 to 30 points per game. Andrew Nimhart's going out there now that he's a starting point guard. He's dropping 20 points, 8 assists a game. You still have players showing their effort, showing that they're good players. And in the end, sometimes we just get beat. I mean, yes, we have Nimhart, yes, we have Siakam, but then we have Johnny Furphy out there. Yeah, we got beat. We got Jarris Walker, which I like. I like Jarris Walker and Johnny Furphy, and Johnny Furphy just another player who's injured on the team. Now he's out for the rest of the season. Just add him to the list of people who will get injured on this team. So Johnny Furphy and Jarris Walker have bright futures, but like they're not starting talent yet. And we're just
And
like,
I
yeah, man, let's get him out there. Let's get him out there. Which also, on a year like this is a perfect time for a player like Johnny Furphy to be in the starting lineup because he gets the experience that he's going to need for a next year when we are a competing team. We can bring him off the bench and hey, I've played with the starting lineup, so it makes
yeah,
sense like that. But then when you're like the Jazz who are winning a game and just we'll take a player out, it's like okay, so you're naturally saying you're just gonna lose, and it makes sense to not reward those teams if you're gonna intentionally lose a game.
yeah,
That doesn't make any sense.
Call me
and
But
crazy, but I feel like the worst teams rarely get the number one pick as much as they used to.
you
That's
know
yeah,
what?
another thing.
Washington, like even Utah, like they've been tanking for so long. It's just it's
Washington's been
exhausting.
bad since John Wall left, man. Like John Wall was gone, and they have never hurt their team ever again.
And we were talking about the Memphis Grizzlies, how they're on that tanking train maybe now as well. But it's safe to say that maybe the problem in Memphis is bigger than just a basketball thing now. Because you get rid of Ja, and I actually looked into it and saw that the Memphis owner did a Pablo Torre interview where they were talking about maybe a relocation. Now, I don't. There's two teams that they're talking about: Seattle and Vegas getting a team. I don't think that the Memphis Grizzlies relocation is going to be a part of that. But where this franchise is at, and with John Morant and their superstar, with the GM totally mismanaging the drafts and the capital, with getting rid of Desmond Bain, getting rid of Jaren Jackson, and even in the city, everything that's going on in that city, and I'm not talking about political stuff because I don't talk about that, but I mean, there's a lot going on, unrest going on in that city. And so you wonder, like, what really is going to happen to these Memphis Grizzlies? Like, where do they go from here? And to me, that answer is so unclear, but it's nowhere in the right direction. It's absolutely nowhere in the right direction, especially if we're talking about basketball.
And I think to put a bow on this with it does come down to the owners at the end of the day. Like the Memphis are a good example of like you have an owner that's already thinking about like getting the hell out of here. Like they're going to be the same type of team that's probably going to tank their team, make sure that people don't show up to games, and then show the NBA like, hey, this is why we should move elsewhere so we could make more money. Like ever since Seattle left, there's always been outcry for the Supersonics. Like, I do think like that's always the number one, like all the time. And obviously Vegas is one of those. Like every sports league is going to get a Vegas team now, so that doesn't surprise me. I do think that ultimately, if they do a relocation, maybe add a team, then they're going to have to move a team to the Eastern Conference. Like, I don't know if it's going to be like the easternmost Texas team. Like I would have thought like Memphis would have been the easternmost team in the Western
You would
Conference,
think
but now
so,
that's
yeah.
not going to be the case anymore. So if they move, so I mean obviously that's going to be questions more down the line. But you could tell the owners actually give a crap and want to win, and who are the owners that are purposely just using this as another revenue. Like they're not going all out for the best players possible to put the best like product on the court to make the fans want to be there. Like it kind of feels like you have the top half of the NBA that wants to win, and then the bottom half that's just like, oh, we're happy to be here.
And
And
for the first time ever, sorry, Paris, but for the first time ever, you have like Bill Simmons questioning whether Adam Silver is the right man to lead this league because of these issues right here. So this topic is something to watch, and whether Adam Silver. So yeah, I think he's gonna do something after the Jazz had Laurie Markkinen out for rest. He ended up playing. So somebody's getting in the Utah Jazz ear saying, "Hey, you can't do it like that. You absolutely can't do it like that." So to see what Adam Silver is going to do, he's going to address the media over the All Star break and definitely talk about this subject. It'll be interesting to hear what Adam has to say.
we just mentioned that we're talking about the Grizzlies, mentioning John Morant. Funny to think, by the at the end of the trade deadline, his stock was so low that nobody wanted him. Nobody would even put a trade out there to get somebody like a John Morant, who obviously has talent. Granted, yes, all his off the court stuff is the issue. That is the issue. I was going to say not one of the big issues. That is the issue why nobody wants him. So with that being said, what really do the Grizzlies do? Because now that John Morant's there for the rest of the season, obviously they have a ton of picks for the upcoming years. They have picks. But does this mean that are they going to have to build around John Morant, or do you think this offseason they either find a way to trade him or they just like waive him, just like the Nets did with Cam Thomas?
That's a tough question because, I mean, I do think John Morant has to look himself in the mirror because he's definitely like he was trying his best to burn his bridges in Memphis to like have other teams go and get him. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be a pain in the ass and then at the same time, like not produce, I mean, granted, he has an injury and he's been out. So that's definitely part of why his trade value wasn't as high as it should have been. But then it's like you look at all the red flags that surround his game, and he doesn't really have a game that will make you last long in the NBA. You know, it's like, are you really going to go all in on a dude that – you may be worried he's going to go on Instagram Live, do something stupid, or he's going to be trying to fight your teammates or throw grenades at your fans. Like, I mean, you name it, he's done it, Like, this is not just like the bazooka, he's going to go out and drop some landmines in front of his opponents. Like, who knows? Like, it's like, it's not just one thing. Yeah, it do the friggin' like the cowboy, friggin' twirl the revolvers and friggin' like he has the full artillery, man. Like, and it's just one of those things that's like he has to perform well. He has to be smart. And maybe in the off season he'll be able to be on a new team, but for now the Grizzlies are stuck with him. And
sounds
looking
like
at his
thing.
And you know what? They've tried for years to build around John Morant, and they absolutely can't. His mental state, his lack of leadership, his locker room cancer is one thing, but this dude can't even stay healthy. He cannot stay on the court. And so they had the best chance they can with Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson. That was their best chance to really do something behind John Morant. Now you trade Jaren Jackson Jr. after trading Desmond Bane. There's no chance. Yes, they have the draft capital, but they do not have who they want leading this franchise. So for me, it's a total reset. Absolutely total reset.
So what do you do with them? Do you get rid of them? Do you just waive them? Just cut
how do you get rid of it? That's the question. Like you're gonna have to either get absolutely nothing in return for him, or hold out and hope that he changes his ways. Like that's kind of like the 50-50 here.
You're hoping that he comes back and plays well and he somehow gets some value in the offseason. But I mean, like they're paying him a lot of money, so this is a dilemma. But
he's 39 mil this year, 42 next year, 44 the following year, and then he's a free agent. So you still have 2 more years on the hook with him.
I
Damn.
don't think the
Another big
Memphis owner is just going to eat that, but they might just end up doing something like the Mavs did with AD. But man, I don't see that they. This is not the second or third season for John Morant. This is way beyond that,
Second
and
contract, big contract.
second contract. And you know what, man, it's sad. It's sad. I think John Morant is one of the most talented, athletic guys around.
At this
But
point, you kind of have to just hope that this year shows. This year really gets him mentally thinking about himself, because this year showed that no matter how good you are, the way you've been acting, the way you carry yourself, nobody wants you. If it wasn't for the contract you already got yourself because the talent you had, he wouldn't be in the NBA. So like he has to, even if he wants out. Obviously, if he really wants out of Memphis, you can get that. But like if he wants out, he has to perform himself at this point, because if he doesn't, once that contract ends, because I was with so much money, they really can't do anything about it. Once the contract ends, nobody. He's just that's gonna be the end of his career. It's over, and
Well,
it could be.
I don't know about that much. I feel like it's too much of a stretch. I do think he still has the talent to be like a third contract guy, but he'll never sniff the $45 million, the $42 million. That's for sure. Like,
Yeah.
I could see him on a couple year deal, maybe breach 100 and something million, but we're looking at like 30, maybe 30 ABV, hopefully. Like that's like his ceiling right now with how he's been. So like it's one of those things. If he buttons up and plays well enough that people want him in the offseason and you could get that trade value, great. Worst case scenario, you may have to wait until he goes to his expiring contract, because obviously when he's on expiring contract, more teams are willing to go all in for a single year loan of him, knowing they're not going to pay for him long term.
I just think this guy needs a fresh start. I just think he needs a fresh start. Whether the Memphis Grizzlies are going to be able to get enough back for him, that's to be told. But anybody around Ja, like even his agent, you would think, man, get this guy out of there, man. Like
Nobody wants him, man. But nobody wants him, and it's kind of funny with all the talent he has. Nobody wants him. It really goes to show the personality he has.
and he could be good for somebody. Like he could absolutely be good for somebody.
Yes,
But it's not Memphis. It's not mid Memphis. You know.
But I mean, Ja ended up staying. But the crazy thing is, everybody talked about Giannis leaving. Giannis ended up staying, and at this point, I really thought he was going to get traded. I thought it was the Heat or Timberwolves, because the Heat were giving up a lot. The Timberwolves were giving a lot of now players. The Heat were giving up kind of a mix of now and future. With the Bucks not giving up Giannis right now, they have Ryan Rollins. They just signed Cam Thomas. I don't think he's going anywhere. Honestly, I think they're going to keep playing this. It probably gets to the offseason, but people start talking about Giannis going somewhere. He's not going to go anywhere, because they have enough where they can start trying to build around him. Ryan Rollins, very good. He has had a crazy breakout year this year. I really like him. Giannis is going to be Giannis. Cam Thomas, I like the pickup. If it works out, they can keep him. If not, who cares, right? But
I do too. I like it.
They're getting the full experience of the Miles Turner right now. They're really seeing it. They're really embracing the experience of Miles Turner. Some games he can hit threes. When he's not hitting threes, you're like, why is he out there? Obviously, Bobby Portis is their backup. But they have enough, and they're only an okay team where they're kind of falling in how the Pacers were for so long, that they're not bad enough to have a top pick, but they're not good enough to go anywhere. But you can still get talent from that spot, and definitely a deep draft. All this talk about Giannis leaving, I don't even when it hits the offseason, I feel like it's going to be brought back up, but he's not going to go anywhere. And the Bucks have a chance to build. I do think they have a chance to turn it around quickly.
I think Giannis is a way better relationship with the Bucks than Ja has a relationship with the Grizzlies, of course. Like Giannis all around seems like a stand-up dude. And I do think he's doing a lot more of the teasing with the Bucks, where it's like, hey, if you guys can't make a team around me, like, well, why am I here? Kind of like
he wants to win. I mean,
like he's playing coy. Of course, you want to win. Like he has the passion. He wants to be the best and have another championship before he retires. Because now he's on the back nine of his career. He's 31 now, so you're not in your physical prime like he used to. He's still gonna kill people and run through them and do all the things he can do. But how long are you gonna be at like your best? You know, like Giannis is still there, but like he still has 2 more years of his contract. He's gonna be 34 when he becomes a free agent. like he's gonna have one more like real contract
Yep.
worth of like play. So I do think he does question that. But at the same time, it's like I do feel like the Bucks are one of those teams that don't really try their best to win. Like it was almost like, yes, we got our championship with Giannis. Now we don't have to try anymore. Like like that's how
I
it kind
mean,
of feels there.
again,
So
the best players they brought in around him were Dame and Kuzma. It's like, okay, but again, it was like Giannis. You question both the ownership and Giannis because again, the ownership are the guy who brought in Kuzma and Dame, but Giannis wanted Dame on the team so bad. And again, I love Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard has been one of my favorite players watching. But at that point, it was just like, why Dame? What Dame is older. He's not the same Dame as he was in Portland, hitting buzzer beaters to get it. He's still a clutch player, but that's not the same Dame. And then they bring Kyle Kuzma. I was like, okay, yes, he's a championship winner, but I mean, again, it's Kyle Kuzma. You're it's almost the same as Miles Turner. When he's having a good game, you feel like great, and then when he's having a good game, you're like, why is he on the court? So it's like,
So Giannis, so like the year that they won the championship, you bring Drew Holiday in, you do a few other moves, and with Giannis, you can contend for a title. So I think that they're going to try to do something similar to that heading into next year. Giannis, the way he plays, and he made that Instagram post. Legends don't run; they attract. So that tells me everything that he's
yeah,
going to
that
want
Wolf
to.
of Wall Street post.
Yeah, which great movie by the way, but
Great
great movie.
great movie. But I just think that they're not as far away as people think that they are. But right now, this roster, no, you got to get Kyle Kuzma. You got to cut some of that dead weight off the roster. We'll see what free agents they're able to get. They obviously swung and missed on Damian Lillard, but in my eyes, their hope is to do something like they did when they bring Drew Holiday in, put a team around Giannis that could compete and see where it goes.
Getting rid of Drew Holiday was their biggest mistake. They should have never got rid of Drew
they should
Holiday.
have kept. He's still
That
balling.
wasn't a good
He's
idea.
balling right now. He's still very good. And I think the idea of Dame is way better than the reality. Like you said, he's not what he used to be. Like if we had prime Damian Lillard with Giannis, oh my god,
That'd be amazing, right?
It would be the amazing duo.
But they really, like that's what they were gonna get.
They definitely did not get that version of Dame. They got injury-ridden Dame that can't do what he used to.
But they were playing good for a minute. Like it looked good on paper and it looked good. Obviously, the idea that is very attractive. But you're talking about a guy who's exiting the prime of his career into old mode, and so it just wasn't. Man, I felt like the Bucks front office was doing a really good job, and then all of a sudden they made a couple bad moves. Can they right the ship? I believe it's a lot more possible than people think.
Man, like I said, I was a big Dame fan. I've always been a big Dame fan, and him going to the Bucks was like, I kind of liked it. I wanted Dame to win. Him going to the Bucks was gonna make him at least like, them gonna be contending, but then it also brought him to the East. You don't understand the pleasure though I got of watching him talk shit on the sideline while he wasn't playing as we're beating them. Like, shut up! Like, why are you over there talking? You can't even get on the court. He was, and that was also his big thing with the Bucks. He did a lot of talking at the end of his career and no playing. Like, get on the court then. Like, you do all this talk about how you could beat us and stuff, but you can't even play. That makes no sense. And so I don't know. He has still had all the confidence in himself, which makes the most sense, but his body wasn't there anymore. It just couldn't. And when you put up an older Dame versus a young pacer who's just gonna run all the time, I mean that's gonna get to him even quicker. So I don't know. It just wasn't the right move, and it's feel weird. Giannis wants the weirdest players. Like Giannis wanted Dame. As a GM, you want to appease your number one player, but it's like, okay, Giannis, I get you want somebody like Dame. How about we get a younger player that's still good and that's not Dame? Like, I get that's the type of player you want. We can find a player like that, but like Dame's not the guy.
I think it was more of like he knows the Bucks don't have the purse to go and sign the top free agent out there, nor do the top free agents want to go there. So I think it was more of like the timing, because we got to remember at that moment, Dame was doing everything in his power to go to Miami, and Miami was doing his very best. Like, it was like very obvious the Trailblazers and Dame were on bad terms, and they were moving towards a divorce. And again, the pettiness of the Trailblazers front staff was like, rather than respect the wishes of the dude that made loyal to the soil and how loyal he is to be with the Trailblazers, we're not going to even give him his wish of being on the Heat. And let's be honest, that Bucks trade package didn't even matter. They got Drew Holiday, but then shipped him off to Boston anyway. So it wasn't like they got a real value out of Dame anyway. So at the very least, they could have brought him to the team he wanted to go for. So it really does make you question how these front offices are run. And with this Bucks team, it's just hard. It does feel like, at least in Giannis's eyes, we have to make a move to make things happen. It's either I go or you guys bring someone to help, because free agency is not an option here. Are you going to draft someone? Well, we're not in the top lottery pick, so odds are you're not going to hit your draft picks either. So it's they're in a very weird situation. And when Giannis is getting paid $50 to $60 million for these next couple of years, it's a very hard constriction on making a good team anyways. So it is a lot going there.
It is.
And then to wrap up this episode, going into playoffs, looking towards next year, definitely for someone like the Celtics, you got somebody like a Jason Tatum, who's starting to practice 5-on-5 now. Is there a specific date or timeline when he's going to be back on the court?
Well, so the way Tatum talks about his return, because obviously obviously it's up to him at the end of the day whether he's ready to come back or not. And he's very adamant on taking his time and making sure he does it right. You've seen in the past with a Kevin Durant Achilles injury, Klay Thompson's multiple Achilles injuries. We have history of watching guys play through Achilles injuries or try to come back too soon and pretty much destroy whatever chance they have at their, whatever their longevity could have been. Now, with Tatum, he's at the prime age. He's 27, I want to say right now, where he's young enough that it's amazing that he's even doing what he's doing right now after he ruptured it wasn't a tear, it was a rupture of his Achilles. And keep in mind, Tyrese only injured his Achilles only 2 weeks after Tatum. And Tatum, there's no talks. There's no signs of Halliburton coming back.
No, Tyrese not coming back at all. There's no.
No, but he's progressing and he's showing clips. But you're right. But
just how hard Tatum's coming back though. He's doing everything in his power to try to come back for this team, and this is not the type of injury that's easy to fight through. So he's definitely cautious. He wanted
Kobe Bryant come back. He wanted to be back same time Kobe Bryant was back at. So.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, again, this is not Achilles is probably the worst injury that you can get as an NBA player because you're always running on your feet. It's just you can't put any pressure off of it. You can't overcompensate. It's your foot. It's the bottom of your foot up to your calf. That's very vital for any kind of running or jumping or any of that. So I think it's cautious but optimistic. It definitely if he can get back by March, I'll say March because he needs ramp up time. He needs some time to get into NBA games and get into any kind of momentum into the playoffs, because if he's not back by March, he's done for the season. Plain and simple. It makes no sense just to bring him back for the playoffs at this point. So I'm cautious, but I'm optimistic.
Okay. I like that. And then you got, there's always talks of AD being injured, but at this point, even if he could come back, if he could come back from the injury, there's no point in bringing him back at all. Trae Young's not playing. They traded for Trae Young, and they immediately said he wasn't going to play for the rest of the season. So they trade for Anthony Davis. What really would be the point of bringing Anthony Davis on the court? He's just going to get re-injured.
The Trae Young one is very questionable considering they traded for him. It was there's just no chance of him coming back. At least with the Anthony Davis saga that's going on, and I call it a saga because Chris Haynes initially reported that Davis was done for the season. And then you have the Washington Wizards GM say, no, there's a chance he could come back. And it does seem like Anthony Davis is getting second or third opinions on his injury to maybe make a comeback because – Anthony Davis, I'm sure deep down inside, it's not like he wants to sit out. It's not like he wants to be remembered as a guy that's, oh man, when he's on the court, he's so good, but can never stay on the court. So I know he has that burning desire to at least try to come back and finish the season well. So it definitely makes you question, like, is Chris Hayne getting good, like getting proper news sources? Like, did he get like a direct quote from the doctor or something for him to just automatically assume he was done for the season? And then you have the actual people that are in the locker room and the front office saying a complete other thing. It definitely is questionable with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I mean, it's always something with Anthony Davis. I mean, Tyler would know. We knew with the Lakers. It's always something with them. So that's why again, I just at this point, it, there's no point in putting them out there. It's not like the Wizards are going to do anything. And Trey Young's if Trey Young's not going to play, what's really the point? Different though is Stephen Curry. He's out right now, and at the moment he's listed as day to day. But when he got injured, he was limping off the court. That's not a day. That is not a day to day injury. That is if you're limping off the court, that is time. And he says he's dealing with pain with I don't even know how to say that. Patellofemoral pain syndrome, runner's knee is what it's called. And he when he first had this, he was out for 2 weeks. Now he's saying he was dealing with it again, but he's only day to day. So if he was out for 2 weeks, came back and it flared up again, I feel like the second time you have to be out for even longer than 2 weeks because the 2 weeks obviously didn't help long term.
With him too, like, I mean, right now reports are saying he's out until the All-Star break, which makes sense. Like, Steph Curry is the same age as Kevin Durant. They're both 37-year-old men. Like, this is like, like average players are not reaching this far into their career. When you get to this time, it's like you are a truly elite player and you're doing everything in your power to like play as long as you can. And Steph Curry is still the best at what he does. He's just an assassin. And give him the ball in his hands, give him any kind of daylight. He's knocking down a three in your face. He's going to, move the ball around. He's like, he won't be the same like pest on defense that he used to be. It's just more now with this friggin' Warriors team. It's like Jimmy Butler was supposed to be your savior, number 2 guy. He's done for the season. You trade for Kristaps Porzingis. Who knows what you're going to get out of Kristaps Porzingis if you're even going to get him back this year. And then outside of them, it's like I don't even want to talk about Draymond Green. You have a sunsetted Al Horford. Like,
Hey,
he's already in retirement home. Yeah, Pods, great. You got Pods. Wow. Like your second-year guard that kind of came out of nowhere that no one even expected to really be that good. Like, this is a Warriors team that's desperate to have Curry play for them. And considering that this is a re-injury and not just a first-time thing, at this point of your career, you have to be cautious because your knee, it's like that could lead to an ACL, an MCL, something like, it's I would Curry definitely needs time off to get rested for the playoffs, or at least to play in, And
then, as I mentioned earlier, Johnny Furphy for the Pacers, he tore his ACL, so he's going to be out. Another player in the Pacers that is out. Funny enough, we had finally really got everybody healthy at this point. I know we got rid of Mathurin, but Mathurin's healthy. Imhar's healthy. Neesmith's healthy. Everybody was healthy for a time, and now there goes Johnny Furphy. Now he's out for the rest of the season. So I mean, it's just we can't on a season where we're missing our number 1 player. We just can't stay healthy. The entire team's been hurt, so that's another person down. And then Miles McBride for the Knicks, he's going to be out for the rest of the season. Now there's a chance he could come back, in the season towards the playoffs as they go out. But Miles McBride, I mean, that's a guy this year who's averaging 28 minutes a game. So 28 minutes, 13 points a game. So they're going to be missing him for the rest of the season.
It kind of feels like the Knicks could hold out. Like, when I was talking about the Alvarado before, like, that's a big reason why they got him. And he could be scary if Miles McBride comes back and could perform well.
There's so many, like stars like that are injured right now with Kyrie Irving, Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton. Next year is going to be it's going to be, man, a comeback season for the ages for people like that. And those injuries really do a damper to the league. I wish there's something you could do about it, but you can't. And so you just wait for them to come back. The Celtics, man, they're already contending without him. So bringing him back into the equation would be. I don't see it happening this year. But I do think they're going to roll with what they got this year, and they think that in their head they could win. In their head, they could win without him. So I don't think they're
Jalen
going to
Brown's
bring him
been
back.
impressive, man. Jalen Brown has been impressive.
MVP candidate, man. Top. He's definitely gonna be first team All NBA come the end of the season when the awards come out.
And then next year, we're going to have a lot of players competing for that comeback player of the year. Because obviously Tatum's going to be on that. Halliburton's going to be on that. Kyrie might be on that, depending on what Kyrie does with that. Obviously, he's older, but still Kyrie Irving. He's going to have a lot of players on that, comeback player, that star players, not just regular star players on that list next year. So obviously next year is a good year to look forward to, but somebody like Celtics, you got something to look forward to this year. Celtics always have something to look forward to at that year.
Well, they're one of those teams that try to win. The average team that doesn't have the expectations like the Celtics do. Like if their star player goes down, they're just going to tank and hope for a good pick. But the Celtics, they're not a team that does that.
When you have 18 banners, that's not in the repertoire.
Yeah.
No, sir, no, not at all. Even Isaiah Thomas, the Terry Rozier years, we were still putting up good teams.
Scary Terry,
we didn't
man.
have the names. We didn't have the names. We didn't have the stars. Sure, LeBron still dog walked us, but it's friggin' LeBron, man. Like no one else could stop us. It was friggin' prime LeBron. He ruled the 2010s.
Yeah.
People always knock LeBron, but he ruled the 2010s. That decade is LeBron's decade.
Oh yeah. Well, that is gonna wrap up this week on the Pull the Chair podcast. Tune in next week. We'll have All-Star Weekend this week, so I'm sure we'll have at least some thoughts about that. I mean, we got somebody like Damian Lillard who hasn't played all year performing the three-point contest, so that's good. We're gonna have thoughts about that. Obviously, keep on track with how the Celtics are doing, what the Pacers and Mavericks are doing, how this tankathon's going for this year. So stay tuned next week at 9:00. Back 9:00 Monday. We'll be back on Monday. This week we were just a little off, so.
We got the All-Star game. Got the All-Star game this week. Hopefully, that'll be a little bit more competitive with the world. But yeah,
against the world game could be fun. So stay tuned next week, Monday 9:00 on the Grit Network for the Pull the Chair podcast.
Thanks for listening.